It's time to talk about this, and we have a constitutional lawyer, Olarewaju Ajanaku, to give us an understanding of what the law says and how Nigerians can understand when the government is making them to understand. All right, welcome. It's good to see you.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
It's good to be here.
Well, when we heard the government say at the time that El Zakzaky was being kept in custody for his own good at one time, and then we've also heard concerning Dasuki that he did, he committed, or his acts led to the killing of so many people and cannot be left. In all of this, what do you make? Let me start with that. How do you make of this pronouncements by courts and government giving reasons for security reasons?
Well, it's a very tough situation that we have found ourselves in. First and foremost, no matter what our grievances are, where if we can't settle amicably, we go to the courts. And for you to go to court in the first place means you are submitting to the inherent powers of that court, and you are submitting to orders that will be made by that particular court. And you, at the end of the day, perhaps because you saw that the judgment or order coming out from the courts was not favorable to you, I decided not to obey the court order. It's just not it. You see, what we are breeding is just what we are looking. It's something that is very dangerous. There are certain very dangerous precedents, perhaps because you don't like someone, or that you feel someone should not be granted bail, and the person was granted bail by a lawfully set up courts of competent jurisdiction to act in that regard. You refuse to obey. What you are bringing up is anarchy. Because where justice is not allowed to fester, to prevail over sentiment, over what we think and not what the law should be, then you are not helping the situation in the country at all. See, well, yes, the excuses being given in respect of El Zakzaky, that he's being kept for his own good. The only situation where somebody can be kept in custody for his own good will be when that person has a contagious disease. Sometimes, and not in perpetuity, you can keep people for their own good from either being lynched, from evil that could befall the person from the society, and it should not be permanent. It should be a temporary resort until you are able to provide security for the person. One, issue of disease. The person can be separated so that
Quarantine.
Exactly, for a while, not forever. You have a lawful court order given in respect of El Zakzaky that he should be released. For goodness sake, obey. You have.
Isn't that concept of court?
It's already? Not. It is. But now you have the IG. You have the IG in place who will lawfully execute the orders of courts. You have him at the helm of affairs, and you are bringing contempt of court against him. It has even been brought against him. But then when the court says, produce, or the IG should come before me to explain why he should not be sent to prison for refusing to obey lawful court order, who bear the cat, who will bring the IG to the court. He is the #1 police officer. Then he has subordinates, he has juniors. Those ones who among them will be bold enough to go arrest the IG. Tell me. Now, we have a situation of Dasuki now. For goodness sake, why do you have security personnel? You have DSS, you have Department of State Security, you have some other arms who do investigation, who can also follow up. Obey the court order, release him. If you release him at the end of the day, you feel he's into other acts that you don't feel comfortable with, then you know how to snoop around, you know how to, curtail him, not restraining. You can curtail activities by you being proactive, put all the paraphernalia of government into work, those machineries to work. When you do that, what you need to do is just to ensure that before he takes one step, you have taken about 7 strides. You should be
What about house
ahead of
arrest?
him. You don't even have to place him on house arrest. If the court says, release this man, he has credible sureties his bail condition have been perfected. He said, if he refuses to appear before the court at any point in time, take up the sureties. Why did the court give conditions? He met the conditions, release the man for goodness sake. I may not support the things that he said he did. Those things are still allegations.
Okay.
Prove that in court.
Yeah, let's look at it from the perspective of someone who actually poses a security risk either to national security or to the environment or to the society or to the public, as the case may be. Let's assume, create a picture. What does the law say in that kind of situation where we have to reconcile between ensuring that the person is not out there to be a risk to the public and then the court saying, obeying court order to say, please, he has to be released on bail, and then he's released? What does the law say in that kind of situation?
One thing, you don't create a situation that is not in existence.
Okay.
You don't try to imagine something that is not real. Let's face something that is very practical. We are dealing with situations of pronouncements of courts here, and the issue of national security. Look at it. Look, you see, I feel sad because I'm a lawyer. I feel so sad that if I were to be his lawyer, I got some court order asking that he should be released, and you have not released him, will I feel good? The answer is definitely no. His family won't feel good too. We are saying that it's a security risk to us and to the entire country. You might be right, partially. But then what do you do? Why do you have investigators? Why do you have silence operators who go to monitor his activities? They know how to do all these
Secret
things.
detectives and all of that.
Detectives, thank you. They go all out. That's why I said initially that you need to be proactive. You should be able to decide, look, this person is a mean man. How do we curtail him? How do we monitor him to ensure that he does not contact people who will aggravate the security situation in the country? But for you to pick and choose what you obey is just not right. That's in an ideal situation. Someone like the Attorney General of the Federation should have resigned in the same climb. When you have governments who have consistently refused to obey court orders, then you resign.
But according to
But he is the one who is even instigating that. Why should that be? Why should that be? That's why so many people have been saying, look, irrespective of what you have against this man, irrespective of what you feel he can do, you still have to obey court orders.
Or maybe what he did.
What did he? We are still thinking that it's in the air, it's hanging. He was alleged to have done this.
Exactly.
Come to court, prove your matter.
Okay, now, apart from the concept of court we talked about earlier, there are some people that are saying that, of course, human rights violation is what is being perpetrated
absolutely
now.
Yes. So we can't violate my right. See,
but then who holds the government to account when the government, because we understand that in any sane society, the law is above the government.
Very well.
So now who holds the government to account when, if what is happening in Nigeria now, who holds the government to account?
The only thing that we can do, the law should checkmate whatever the government does. Do you understand? But it's very apparent now that the government is not ready to obey the law, lawfully given orders of courts. But then when I begin to look at it, right now, you begin to bring sentiments into it. Nigerians will be reacting on their own to say, look, I cannot phantom me coming in or asking this government who is actually against, who is not ready to obey court orders, a second chance. These are the things that you need to do. My constituent is this issue of law, justice. And what we ask for at all times will be justice for all. irrespective of whose ox is God, whether it suits you or not. Once an order has been given, you need to obey that court order. Then you send signals to people that, look, no matter who you are, if you are found guilty, you go in. If the court orders otherwise, then you should be released, for goodness sake.
Well, the president believes he obeys the rule of law.
How? It's very apparent. We can see they pick and choose.
All right. In all of this,
yes,
the Attorney General is a lawyer.
Very well.
And in fact, the Vice President is also a lawyer.
He has many lawyers in the
There are so many lawyers around the president and all of that. Now, what does the NJC have to do with ensuring or disciplining or ensuring that, at least to a great extent, lawyers who are under its supervision, maybe not necessarily directly, but they are still lawyers and can be disciplined by the NJC. So what does the NJC have to do, or what role do they play in this?
Well, rather unfortunate. It's rather unfortunate that in this regard, NJC, as well known as National Judicial Council, has nothing to do with lawyers. They only have to regulate appointment, disciplinary actions against judicial officers. Okay. And those judicial officers are magistrates who can be dealt with at the state level, and the judges and justices of the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. You understand? But then, if the national law officer has a law or has an order that he ought to obey, and he advises the government not to obey that particular order, an individual can even petition the legal practitioner disciplinary committee, legal practitioners disciplinary committee, to say that would that be a misconduct on his part? Perhaps this person should be cited for misconduct.
But how are we sure that it's even the AGF that...
The AGF is the national law. That office must be served for him to relate same back to the respective departments, whether states, the DSS and all that, to obey that court order.
Exactly. But what if there is a higher, person?
By the time
an instruction.
By the time he's taken before the LPDC, let him come and explain that he got a written instruction for him not to obey the court order.
There has to be someone that is ready to uphold the law.
That is exactly. That is why he's a national law officer.
Exactly.
But now he has refused. You know, sometimes, like I think Femi Falana of SAN did one time, approached the court that he should be compelled to obey the court order. In our situation, respective matters, we can have a situation where someone who, in a public officer who ought to do a thing, refuses to do that thing. You go to court and ask for an order of mandamus for compelling that person to do that thing that he has refused to do. Now, we are talking about contempt of court. That's just the first stage, issue Form 48 against the person, and then give him some other, I think 7 days or so, that if you refuse within this period to obey that court order, that Form 49 will now be issued and served on him for the consequence of the disobedience to that lawful court order. But then, as I said earlier on, you have the Inspector General of Police and have the AG. The Attorney General has refused to obey. You have gone to court. The court has said, now, serving from 48, serving from 49. Let him come and show cause why I should not send him to prison. And you now served it on the police. You served it on his person. He refused to appear. You told the court order that he should be brought, should come to court. On his honor, he refused. The court says the IG should bring him to court. The IG refuses to do that because all of them are together.
Let's get an understanding. How
it's pathetic. It's killing the system.
How do you get the court action now to put all this in motion for the court, for the judge to be able to summon the
who enforces that?
Enforce it.
Yeah.
No, is it the defense counsel who starts this?
For someone who has been charged to court, it will be the defense counsel. But someone who has not been charged, who has not been kept in custody, it will be the applicant's counsel. Because an applicant will go to court seeking redress to be released, but while in court, he will be a defendant. And in that wise, he will be the defense counsel. But now, it's either the applicant's counsel or the defendant's counsel. If any other person comes asking that he should be cited for contempt, that person will have no locus. But the people, for the counsel for the applicant or the defense, can bring it up. If you have a lawful order after perfecting your bail conditions and the court says release, you serve it on them and they refuse to obey. Now, one thing, we can come back to court and ask the court to compel the IG or whoever is holding the person to release. When they now refuse to release, what you now do is now bring up contempt proceedings against the person who has refused to release. But then we come back, it's this evil circle. You come back, you go to the court issues an order, you go back to the Attorney General, from there you go to the IG, this person has refused to obey the court order. Who will the IG now arrest the AG?
Well, unfortunately, the IG is even being held in contempt.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
So
who is to arrest who?
So in all of this, as it dangles here and there is no, as far as the government doesn't want to uphold the pronouncement from the court, it means there's nobody, unfortunately, there's nobody to enforce that.
So unfortunately, so true.
Wow.
So unfortunate.
So it's about the failure of the system itself, not
systemic failure. Right. We are saying empower institutions. Let the institutions work well. When they are empowered, no matter who is involved in any matter, the institutions have mechanisms in place to ensure that the right things are done. Whether you are there, whether you are the head of state or the president, wherever you are, the law is there to checkmate you. Empower the system and let the system flow.
All right. Constitutional lawyer Olariwaju Ajanaku, thank you very much for your analysis on the show at this time.